So I took the books home and I read them and I said, like this would make a fantastic, well first I thought to do movies of each one, but then as I got into it and I started traveling to Spain and I met with the production company Fresco, who did everything for Game of Thrones in Spain.
Oh, nice.
And they loved the story and I got them, one of the guys on as co-producer, and then, so, it was like, no, and then TV became so big.
What is up, y'all? Let's get a nice round of applause for our guest, Judi Jordan from Philly. Let's talk about vampires.
Judi. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
So we got a bunch of books here. Famous author Les Daniels.
Yeah.
Beautiful stories, vampire stories. And what are you doing with these stories?
Well, the stories begin in Spain, which is what was so exciting to me.
España.
Sí. España and 15th century.
Ooh.
Okay, so it's a pretty dark time. It's the beginning of the Inquisition.
Yeah.
And and I was interested. I was actually hired to write a vampire script, by a Mexican director. And so I was doing research, and I went to the Los Angeles library, the big one. Remember the big one where you could actually walk in and take a book out, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was,
those old places.
those old places, man. You needed a card, and wow.
Right.
Yeah. So I was in there, and I was just digging through this, and I came across these books, and I'm like, wow, because I was a big fan of Anne Rice and Lestat and the whole thing, Interview with the Vampire. Don't ask me why, but I think it's something about, it's in the blood.
Okay.
It's
literally.
Yeah, literally. It's just like you just have a feeling for stuff like this, or not. But I did, ever since I was little, and it's okay. That's weird, but yeah. So I took the books home. And I read them and I said, like this would make a fantastic, well first I thought to do movies of each one, but then as I got into it and I started traveling to Spain and I met with the production company Fresco, who did everything for Game of Thrones in Spain.
Oh, nice.
And they loved the story, and I got them, one of the guys on as co-producer, and then, so, it was like, no, and then TV became so big, like Game of Thrones and all these series. People were staying at home.
Had you reached out to, I don't know if the author was alive or
Oh, yeah. Yeah, of course, I did that before.
Yeah.
No,
so you acquired the television rights to the books?
I have all the rights to the books. I called the guy up at home. These are still when you could call up information and get somebody's name and phone number.
Books? Yeah,
that was a long time ago. And it was literally like he died like a year later, but he was so awesome. So I spoke to him and I told him, he said, no, I said, I really hoped that they would get made. And, I said, well, there's one thing I wasn't quite certain about. When I read all the books, I said, how did Don Sebastian become a vampire? And he said, I don't know, but you'll figure it out.
Ooh. Wow.
That was so much. That was the greatest gift he could give me.
Right.
Besides saying yes, you can option the books, and he said, and just stay on my agent. She's hard to get through to, but just stick with it. And that was the greatest advice he gave me. And so we spoke on the phone a few more times, and then he passed away. But I still feel his energy.
Mm-hmm.
I could feel him, because it's hard to write vampire stuff during the day. So my hours changed a little bit. I get up later. I got dark curtains.
So you're writing the adaptation.
I've written 10 episodes from book one. The idea is to have 2 seasons per book.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Wow.
But the thing
How
is,
many books are there?
this guy gets reborn. There are 5 books.
Okay.
And he starts out as a knight and nobleman, man of really great principles.
Well, yeah. Let's start at the beginning.
Yeah.
What is this? What are these books about? You mentioned Don Sebastian. That's the vampire. He's Spanish, 15th century Spanish Inquisition.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about the plot, the general plot.
Okay, so the plot is there are these 2 brothers. One is recently made inquisitioner in Aragon. And so, we have Isabel and Fernando, who were the rulers at that time. And their mandate for themselves was to get a hold of the Alhambra, in Granada. They had, not a zillion, they had many, many castles, but that is the gem of Spain. It still is. It's incredible. Built by Arabs, of course, but they wanted it. And so that meant ending 900 years of Arab rule, Muslim rule in Spain, Once they got that, it was done. And so they started this war. It was taking them 9 years. And they named the brother of Sebastian Inquisitor in Aragon, because Aragon was one of the most resistant areas, Castile went like, okay, you got us, Isabel. We'll all be Catholics. Kick out the Jews, kick out the Moors, the Gypsies, forget about them. And so my feeling was, well, okay, so let me finish there. So the point is, we get to Sebastian, who is a noble knight, and he inherits the title Lord of Aragon. Okay, his brother is pushed by the wayside, and he was never really that interested in work. He joined the monastery because he had a personal secret, which we can all imagine what that is. Okay, and that comes out.
Okay.
It comes out. But it's great. I mean, if you can't have a monastery and not have a gay storyline, right?
Especially at the time. Mm-hmm. I mean, no, but it was common to send if you had multiple sons, there was, if one stuck out for any certain reason, he was the one that would go off to. You'd be a priest at the time. Nikki, 13th century. He's,
you got no choice, dude. You're like, But once he was there, I mean, he started nefarious things, and he was very adapted to the torture element of capture and get the truth out of people, and then get them to confess, to put the question to them. When we say them, we mean the Jews, the Sephardic Jews, who had basically been, the monetary source for much of Isabel's campaigns. So it's really, it was pretty dire.
Dark.
Yeah. Oh, it gets, and I love it. It's political too. So they were trying to get rid of the gypsies. Yeah. So we've got a gypsy storyline to develop. We've got all these other things. So these two brothers come head to head, and they are not friends. They do play chess occasionally, but they really are enemies, and it gets worse when Sebastian falls in love with a beautiful Sephardic Jewess who accidentally renders him immortal. So
so that's how he became the vampire.
He's a
Okay, but that's not in the books. This is in.
It's in me. Yeah, because I was given license by the author to.
And it makes so much sense.
Yeah. It does.
Wow.
Make sense.
It's okay. Well. Go ahead.
I have to ask, because I've always wondered this.
Okay.
When I know, and first of all, you look very youthful and you're all black. I think you might be a vampire.
Yeah.
'Cause you look a little too good. But what I will say is, I've always wondered if people who write about, do you have a vampire fantasy?
Of course. You know what it is? It's like eternal life. Who wouldn't want a do-over?
Right.
But there's something sexy about it, because it's, first of all, the nocturnal aspect, right, and the biting in the neck thing, and the enchantment. I'm talking more about the Dracula version, because now we have all kinds of versions.
Edward Cullen version. I was a fan of.
What's that?
Which one?
Edward Cullen.
Oh yeah.
Which one is Edward Colored?
Twilight.
Oh, Twilight, of course. Yeah, I skipped those. But there's all kind. But it's very beautiful and sexy. A little sexier than some of the other monster myths and stuff like that. But do you know about Vlad Tepes, who was the basis for Dracula?
I was just talking about that with my publicist, and she mentioned that.
Vlad the Impaler.
Oh, Vlad the Impaler. Yes.
But his real name was Vlad Tepes.
Oh, was it?
Yes. Vlad Tepes was he's from Transylvania. He really was. And he was resistant to the church and all that kind of stuff. I mean, he had crazy stories what he would do to like Catholic monks who would come here to try to turn him.
Yeah.
Supposedly he drank the blood of victims, but as the king or general or whatever, and he was the basis for the Dracula myth, because his nickname was Dracul, which is the son of the devil.
Right.
Okay, we're gonna take a break. This is exactly what I want to be talking about on the Zoo. We're gonna be right back with Judi Jordan. We're back here on the Zoo with Judi Jordan, who is adapting the Les Daniels novels. I'm going to go out and get some of these. The first one is The Black Castle.
The Black Castle, yes.
It's funny because we ended up the last conversation talking about the Dracula myth has dominated the vampire myth with this Transylvania thing. Yes, there is
the origins of vampires,
right? Well, I know people. Like when I was a kid, I thought Transylvania was kind of like made up. And no, Transylvania is a real place in Romania. I have friends who are from Transylvania.
Yeah.
And they get a kick out of the whole thing. But I love the vampire myth in Spanish Inquisition, Spain, and you bring up so many things. A lot of people these days, I think they purport to know about history, and sometimes they're, I don't know, but they don't. And so, like with Spain, you know, especially in those years, those centuries, the clash of cultures and races that happened, you know, Europe and Africa and the Arab world, and the Sephardic Jews left Israel to go to Spain. People don't realize that what a big part of that history. A lot of people with the last name Perez are usually descended from Jewish people because it's Perez. And it was so. It was violent and it was dark, and it was the frontier of so many things, you know. And so to put a vampire there, obviously, okay. But we didn't finish though. So there was the Inquisitor brother. That's not the vampire. The vampire is the other guy.
Yes, Don Sebastian.
And he's doing a war.
Well, yeah. Okay, so he is obliged. He's obliged to support his cousin, Fernando of Aragon. So. This is what makes it interesting. We're weaving politics in as well.
Right.
Okay. So first of all, you know, Isabel was a little bit frustrated with Fernando. He had a very dramatic mistress. He had 5 children outside of their royal relationship. So
In your life, or in the
in real life, yeah.
No.
This is true.
Okay.
That's not a lie. And so you know, there was a lot of frustration on the part of Isabel, and so part of what she was doing was trying to take back Aragon by bits and pieces. So she was demanding a lot of things of Sebastian, and you know, he was very clever and made money through his properties and such. So he was able to afford to bring troops to Granada, whereas a lot of the other Aragonese nobles were like, no, we'll just send a few bucks, you know. So he was constantly weighing, you know, his relationship with the crown to protect his wife. He meets Ana when he is funding secretly the voyage of Cristobal Colon. They meet at a tavern in Barcelona.
Y'all know that man?
Yeah, right? This is going to be interesting because a lot of people don't know that Spanish Jews, were the ones that funded. And Isabel had a lot of her jewels pawned to Jewish moneylenders, one of whom is the wife of Sebastian, Ana. Ana was a woman before her time. She was studying biology with Leonardo da Vinci in his atelier. And so basically she renders Sebastian a bio-vampire, okay? She's creating a serum there because she has
What do you mean a bio-vampire?
Well, he doesn't become vampire through a bite. He becomes a vampire through blood-infused serum.
Why didn't I would go for the bite though?
Yeah, me too. If you're gonna make me a vampire, at least
They
seduce
still
me.
bite.
He gets very bite happy, believe me. But it's like
That's how it's transmitted.
yeah, but it starts off innocently enough. I mean, she's trying to save his life. She goes actually down there to create a serum for her brother, who has an early version of Tay-Sachs, which is the Jewish
Do you have
disease.
alchemists in these
Oh
stories?
yeah.
Fine.
Look
I like
at you,
that.
Mrs. Middle Ages.
She
Oh
is.
no, this is medieval, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about.
No, this is late medieval,
Late
early
medieval.
Renaissance.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're close.
I'm a history buff.
You're close. Me too. You know, I was asking somebody, why is everybody so interested in history now? It's because, like, it's too hard to live.
Because they want to be able to make a point at the party.
Yeah, it's that too.
Name them.
It's hard to live in this present day.
All right, we gotta go, but I really appreciate you coming here, and we can't wait to follow this project, and we'll be supporting it, and I'm definitely watching this. And
Thank you.
I'm gonna go grab some of these books and start reading them.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
All right, we'll be right back here on the Zoo.
Pleasure.